Here I come again, baby. Guys, we are a generation of rent maxers. Like, everything we do, we rent. Like, at least most of it. Let me explain myself. So, I had this light bulb go off in my head. Subscriptions have become very popular. And I'm not even talking about your classic Netflix subscription or Amazon subscription, even though that they're also part of it. Like, we've been renting more and more stuff as time goes on. Of course, we're gonna start with the elephant in the room, like renting your place, the place where you live. Like, renting your own space is already kind of worrying in my head, in my own like values, because being home represents owning. Like, the place where you are, you should own. At least that's how I feel about it. That's how I grew up in a Eastern European country where almost everybody owned their place. And now that I live in the West, and here, like, almost everyone that I know rents their place. They don't own it. Sure, some of them will own it in like 30 years, but is it really? But it's at least it's still 30 years before they own it. You know what I mean? It's kind of a crazy thought to have. But I was thinking about it, and we are kind of renting everything, like, and also your rent is pretty damn high. Like, the place that you just exist in is half or even more in some bad scenarios. It's even more than the half of your salary. So you pay for just existing in somebody else's place, and you pay a lot. So that is not great for the starters. It's not great to own where you exist. That is just an yeah, now when I think deeply about it, like, that's kind of crazy. Like, but this is just a normal thing now. This is the gold standard, renting someone else's place that you probably don't even know, which is the worst part. Yeah. Now, we talked about, of course, the houses, which is the biggest renting thing going on. Also remind me to talk about our generation, the Generation Z, however you want to call it, that is about to rent pretty much everything in like 10 or 15 years, when we get to the age when we have to, like, exist in our own spaces. You cannot forever live with your parents, of course. But what do we rent? We rent movies. We pay subscriptions, which is also a way of renting. You're paying, let's say, 19.99 to Netflix, and then they rent all of their movies to you that they have a license for, and most of the times they have nothing good on there, which is why I don't fucking watch Netflix for a while now, because they have all this woke bullshit on their repertoire. I, I felt French, guys. Sorry, that's why I used that word. I don't even know if it's French, but it felt like it was French. Now, let's stop with that whole thing. So yeah, you're renting your Netflix movies. You're renting some of your services. You're renting your place. You're renting a lot of stuff. You rent a lot of stuff, and that is just a little weird. We rent so many things. At the end of the day, we even, like, rent our bodies to be on earth for a while, and then we disappear from here. So you can say that, yeah, that's nothing new. Like, people have been renting stuff, and we ourselves are kind of just a rent on general, like, these corpses. Like, we're not really, like, we know that we're not this, we're not our skin and our nails. We're just kind of this something inside, this soul that we want to say. So for the starters, we rent our bodies. So renting might not be that bad, right? But from the other perspective, if you rent too much, you will end up owning not too much. And owning nothing means there's nothing for you to give to the next generation. if you're lucky to have one, like kids, you know what I mean, offspring. If you don't have anything to give, then your kids are even in a bigger shit, because now they have to find another place to rent, and you're never gonna be having your own thing going on. And as it seems, like, let's now talk about this, about our generation, about Generation Z, right? We are about to, I mean, not right now, but eventually we will be inheriting the world from the baby boomer how do you call it, the generation of the 60s, the 70s, you know, the baby boom generation, the baby boomers, right? We're eventually gonna inherit the world from them, but they're renting everything to us. So what would we even end up owning? Like, what would be left later on? That's kind of a scary thought. And with all the prices kind of going crazy when it comes to like property and housing, and you know the issue about it, like we all know that like your salary is like 1 point something percent of a house in your area, probably. Maybe not, it depends where you live, but if you live in a developed Western country, that's probably the case. I just, it's kind of a scary thought, because you will end up probably not even buying something of this scale, because you will need to wait to work for like 50 years for it. And it's pretty, it's so much, it's your whole life. You'll be a slave for your own house that you will own for like 7 or like 5 years before you die. And but on the other side, of the coin, you don't buy it, you don't ever own anything, and then your kids don't end up inheriting anything from you, and that's kind of bad. Because we're a generation right now, we're probably the last generation that will inherit something from their parents, or like their houses, right? Eventually, we're lucky ones, or they were lucky to build or buy a house for like dirt cheap, and now they can eventually hopefully pass it to you when their day comes. But owning nothing is a very scary thought, especially for a man. And we as men, I feel like we even have something deeply in us that wants us to own stuff. Our whole history is full of men grouping up and just going to the next village and just pillaging it and just trying to take whatever they can, and even like women and like livestock and property like gold, silver, everything they could, they would just collect it, because it was like, yeah, this is now ours, we own it. And we come now to a point where they take everything from you in a way, in a civilized manner, and you're not really, you cannot really even battle this. Like, you cannot even battle this, because what can you do? Like, you didn't buy Bitcoin like 10 years ago, did you? You didn't, right? You are not really willing to buy meme coins right now and hope to become a millionaire, like from some weird pump. You also don't want to bet on Polymarket to, will Jesus return in 2026? Like, you don't really want to bet on that, right? Like, it's hard. It's hard, man. It's really hard for Gen Z. So if you don't have rich parents, it's gonna be pretty tough for you. It's gonna be tough for me, right? Because my parents are sadly not rich. I will inherit something, sure, but is it something crazy? Not really, because then my kids will inherit like half of what if I have like 2 kids, say, I'll have to split it, of course, and then they will like inherit like what, a room, like I give you one room to you, one room to, like, it's not it, man. It's not it. Like, we all we need a house. We need to own a house, but now the houses are they're crazy, man. They're expensive. So we have this situation right now that really makes it difficult for us. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this in this video, but I don't want to be a black pill or whatever. I'm not a doomer guy. Like, I don't think that things are gonna be that we're gonna live in a full dystopia in like 20 years, and that we'll have a social credit on our foreheads or whatever. I don't think it's gonna get to that point, hopefully. Uh, but the reality is, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But I think there will be a point when things will kind of go back. They will reverse. Not in a good way, like for good for the average person. But I think it's gonna take a while. And for us right now, it's kind of crazy because like your salary is like 3K dollars if you're from the US, and if you're from Europe, like from the Western countries, like 2.5K euros or 3K euros, or if you're from Britain, you have like pounds, of course, so it's probably around like 3K pounds, some countries even less. And then a house costs like 400,000, like half a million. It's not really great. So when you don't own anything, when you don't end up owning anything, you have to rent everything. And when you rent everything, you have nothing on your name. But now I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point. You know what is going on. You live in your area. You don't, you're not a ghost. You exist in your area. You know what's going on in your area, in your country. Hopefully it's better in your country, because some countries are better than others. If you live like on the west side of Europe, I feel like you're in a worse position, like when it comes to these big purchases, to property purchases in general. If you live in the east, you're still like more, uh, ca- I wanted to say more capable, but I don't know, because it's not great there as well. If you are from the US, I don't know, guys. I think you're also kind of doomed. I'm not from the US myself, but I've watched some videos, and I mean, I see the same issue happening everywhere. So, yeah, guys, tell me what you think about this, because this is something that really has been haunting me lately. In a way, I try not to really care. I don't think I really care about this that deeply yet, but I think there will be a point in my life when I'm like, oh shit, like I ended up owning nothing. Like, this is not really great, right? But right now, I try to not care, and I think I'm fine. Like, I don't really try hard my thoughts. Try hard my thoughts. That was a weird thing to say, but I don't really think that much about it right now, because I mean, first of all, I'm pretty young, but also I think I'm just optimistic. I think something is gonna get figured out. Like, it cannot go worse and worse and worse forever. Something has to flip eventually. So I'm just optimistic, and I hope that things will work out. I mean, what else can you do? Like, hope that everything is gonna go downhill? Like, of course not. So, yeah. So, about that, I wanted to say something else as well, but I forgot it now. Yeah, that sucks. Oh yeah, if you're from Eastern Europe or from Asia, have a you might be in a better spot, because the properties are not as expensive, because the countries are not as developed, thus the land is not as developed, so there's still a lot of space to go around, to build and to create, and you can easily buy something and build something. So I think not every corner of the world is under this has this problem on the same scale. But I think things have been getting worse. I mean, we know that like economically things have been getting worse and worse, especially after the pandemic, and things seem to continue. This trend seems to continue. So, but again, if you're in your 20s, you realistically don't have to worry as much about it, because you're still young. I just entered my 20s, so I don't really give a fuck about it. I have a lot more things to think about right now. First of all, host. So yeah, I think now I'm repeating myself too many times. I think I've said it all. We are a generation of renters. We are rent maxing our lives, which is not really great, to be honest. But what can you do, man? What can you do? So yeah, have a nice day, guys. Enjoy beautiful weather. Hopefully, spring is here. Spring is here, and it is almost summer, which is gonna be even better. So yeah, catch you up in the next one, boys.